Windows 10 has been thrust upon us.
Whether you like it or not. Let's first off talk about the privacy issues, because I think as far as our show goes, that's probably, and our audience, that's probably the foremost thing on your mind. Now, Windows 10 has introduced a number of new features. Cortana is one of them. They have more deeply integrated everything into their own services, and they're being very blatant about all the stuff that they want to collect. For instance, they say right in the terms of service some stuff like, we're going to collect everything you do. That includes things you type, messages you send, emails, things you say. All that stuff is up for grabs. They're going to collect it. They're going to use it to help marketers better market to you. And they're going to create a unique profile for every single person on your machine. So there's an identifier. When you log on, they know it's you, and that way they can track you specifically. Now, there are other implications here, because they haven't said anything about whether or not they would be comfortable selling your information to the government or even giving your information out. It looks like they will, because I guess if you read between the lines, it seems like they're totally willing to cooperate with people who come and ask, hey, we need this data. It seems like it's not, like I said, black and white so that I've seen yet, but it's a bit worrying.
The actual text says, we will access, disclose, and preserve personal data, including your content, such as the content of your emails and other private communications or files in private folders, when we have a good faith belief that doing so is necessary to protect our customers or to enforce terms governing the use of the services. Now, to protect our customers, okay, but to enforce the terms governing the use of the services is kind of a circular logic thing there. It's like, well, if whatever's in the terms, whatever goes. I don't know. There's a lot of this stuff that this article points out that is like as if it's new in Windows 10, but it's really not new in Windows 10. It's things that have been a part of those services for a long time. Like, for example, they mentioned BitLocker. So BitLocker is Microsoft's full disk encryption. It's actually reasonably implemented in terms of the level of security, but it backs up your key to OneDrive. So like the decryption key for decrypting your BitLocker encrypted hard drives, like if it's stolen and the criminals get access to it, they boot off USB, they're not going to be able to do much with it because the platform is going to protect your data and it's going to be encrypted. But that decryption key is stored on OneDrive. So that means that an intelligence agency could access it, or if you work in a corporation and some other government is interested in whatever you're doing in your corporation, chances are they could recover your BitLocker key from OneDrive ahead of stealing your laptop or ahead of stealing your device, and then use that to recover your information. So I'm not really sure what sort of steps that you have to opt out of. It does seem like they put settings inside the operating system, but I would be happier if they had a more centralized control panel that was something along the lines of, okay, you want to have the operating system operate in basically a completely standalone mode. Let's actually do that. And I think you can do a lot of that through group policy. But for regular ordinary people that are going to do this through the UI, it's sort of a pain, because Cortana is really deeply integrated. Search is really deeply integrated. The documents folder and other things like that, in the name of convenience, is really deeply integrated. So the people that were up in arms about search on Linux, on Ubuntu, going to Amazon, it's like that times a million. So it's of some concern.
Yeah, and a lot of these things are just turned on by default. So you actually have to go in and make an effort to turn them off. And, when you first boot up the operating system, when you're first doing the installation, it'll ask you, they give you several yes and no. Do you want us to share your data? Do you want us to come and sleep with you, and then wake you up at 2 a.m. by gnawing on your ear? Those are little, check boxes. You can turn them on or off. But there are
Except for the account.
There's plenty more.
Account?
Yeah. Well, like, you can install without offline.
Not a Microsoft account, and then it's like, well, I don't want a Microsoft account, and so it's like you don't not want a Microsoft account, right? And it's like
turns into a Bugs Bunny thing where you're like, I don't know what you're saying, but I think you're right, and then Bugs Bunny laughs and eats a carrot. That's what's going to happen. Yeah,
you get a Microsoft account whether or not you want one.
Yeah, I installed it on the laptop over here just to check it out, and I made sure that there was no internet connection whatsoever. Unplugged it, made sure there was no Wi-Fi, just to be sure that it would not force me to use the live account. And I've got it running with a local account only. And that seems to be doing okay. Whenever I clicked on Cortana to see what would happen, it was like, sorry, we need you to log in. OneDrive, it's like, we're sorry, we need you to log in. So it seems like a lot of that junk is going to be specifically through the live account. I'm sure they're doing things to monitor regardless, because it's in the terms of service saying that they can. But without the live account, it's going to limit a lot of things you do. And even if you do have a live account and you want to use Cortana, Time was speculating, Time Magazine or Time website or whatever, they were speculating that this is going to be a huge blow to Google. Now that people have Windows 10, they're going to start relying on Cortana. And Cortana, the back end, is Bing. So instead of using Google, they think people are going to just start using this because it's so easy. You can sit at your computer and say, like, whatever, I don't know, OK, Cortana, whatever, and get all your search results from Bing. So I'm not sure if that's the case or not. I think Bing makes Cortana a little weaker than it should be. And also, I'm not going to log in. I'm just not going to use Cortana. That's it. I might do it on a dummy account just so we can make some videos about it, but no Cortana for me.
Cortana kind of reminds me of, like, one of the old James Bond films. It's like, she's a spy. She's not working for you. Can you dupe her into doing sort of counterintelligence things where she's useful, but she's not actually gathering, useful intelligence in the name of Mother Russia or whoever the enemy was in those old Bond films. And it's kind of like that with Cortana. It's like, Mother Microsoft, I don't know. It's probably not good they're building a profile on me. This is probably bad.
Yeah, who knows what they're going to do with that. I just need all the programs that I use daily to be available on Linux. That's all I really need, and I'll be happy in life. But I'm still relying on Windows for so many damn things. And hey, I'm going to say this right now. Windows 10 is really pretty. And thank you guys, Microsoft, for making the UI prettier. Thank you for moving the icons closer together on the taskbar. It just looks much cleaner. I can get rid of the live tiles, but it really is a big step ahead of Windows 8.1 with several compromises. The other thing that's kind of weird is that by default will share all of your friends among you and your friends. It'll share all the SSIDs and passwords and that sort of thing when you connect to different networks. It's like, hey, we're all friends together here. So it just, like, if you go over to a coffee shop that your friend went to and you authenticate, when you get there, it'll just automatically have the password and stuff. So that's a bit weird.
That is a bit weird.
Yeah.
I didn't know it did that.
I mean, Microsoft is really building a ginormous machine to collect data. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're letting this operating system go for free to owners of the previous operating systems. Is they've built a giant spider web to catch all your data. And that's where the value is. When something's free and it's not open source and you didn't work on it yourself, you know who the product is. All right.